Four numbers on the board tonight, crew, and they do not agree with each other. On August 6th, Houthi missiles and drones hit Yemeni government military camps, and it was, in the words AFP used, the deadliest toll since the truce of 2022. How many soldiers died depends entirely on who you ask: 30, 38, 58, or hundreds. 4 counts, 4 different sources, 1 attack. Most desks would pick one number and move on. This desk keeps all 4 on the board, because which count you repeat is a choice. And tonight I am going to show you who owns each one. First, what happened, as plainly as the record allows. The Houthis launched ballistic missiles and drones out of al-Jawf province in Yemen's north, and they came down on government military camps in 2 provinces, Hadramout and Marib. Camps, not a front line. Yemeni military sources counted 8 missiles, and the reason the toll ran so high, by multiple accounts, is timing. The strikes landed while troops were gathered in formation for morning training. Rear area camps, massed personnel, ballistic arrival. That combination is why every count on tonight's board is a large one. Now the board itself, and listen to who owns each number. 30 killed. That is what government sources told Al Jazeera, and Yemeni government officials gave the Associated Press the same 30. At least 38. That count came from 2 medical sources speaking to AFP, the people receiving the bodies. At least 58, a Yemeni military source speaking to AFP anonymously. And then the attacker's own claim. The Houthi military spokesman, Brigadier General Yahya Saree, claimed hundreds of government fighters killed and wounded. Killed and wounded, together, in his phrasing. Averaging these would produce a number that nobody on this list ever said. So we do not average. The truth is somewhere on this board, and the board is honest about where it is not. And here is why this desk is so careful with fog of war numbers. They move underneath you. A 5th figure circulated widely in the first hours of this story. By the time we checked it against the live record, the article that introduced it had been rewritten, and the number was gone from the very page that first carried it. Different outlets had meanwhile attached it to 3 different meanings: killed, killed and wounded, killed at 1 camp. Same digits, 3 stories. So that number is not on our board tonight, and that is not a complaint about any newsroom. Early counts in a war are drafts. The mistake is not that drafts change. The mistake is quoting a draft as if it were the record. The fighting also crossed a border. In Najran, a Saudi city up against the Yemeni frontier, 11 civilians were injured, and that count belongs to the Saudi-led coalition's spokesman, Turki al-Maliki. Worth noting for the record, the Houthis did not immediately claim that strike. And the timing sits inside a month that had already gone wrong. July brought a Houthi-declared blockade of Saudi shipping, strikes around airports on both sides, and the first Saudi coalition strikes inside western Yemen since the truce began. August 6th did not come out of nowhere, crew. It came at the top of a ladder that both sides had been climbing for weeks. So read the ledger. The truce of April 2022 was never a peace deal. It was a pause that mostly held for 4 years, and a pause is exactly what somebody can decide to stop honoring. The immediate beneficiary of August 6th is the Houthi command, which just reasserted the battlefield initiative it had set aside during the truce. Their spokesman framed the assault as an answer to a Saudi military buildup, which is their stated reason, on the record, for you to weigh. The cost sits in the other column, and it does not depend on which count you believe. Somewhere between 30 and 58 soldiers, by the competing tallies, plus 11 civilians in a Saudi border city who were not part of anyone's formation. After action, in 3 lines. The deadliest day in Yemen in 4 years happened at training camps, not on a front. The death toll is 4 numbers with 4 owners, and anyone who hands you a single clean figure is doing your choosing for you. And the truce that held those numbers down since 2022 just took its sharpest hit yet. What to watch now is simple: whether the counts converge as the record settles, and whether the ladder keeps getting climbed. A truce that held for 4 years earned attention. Give it the week's worth. End of report. I'm Mark, and this is Pixel Politics.